Oh yeah, I'm up to my old tricks again. Did you know that 2 out of every 3 men will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? Every network admin worth his weight in scotch knows the value of preventative maintenance. So why not apply that same mindset to your hair? That is where Keeps comes in. Keeps is a subscription service designed for men who are dealing with premature deforestation. With Keeps, a licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the hair loss treatment that's right for you. And don't worry about forgetting your prescription at the pharmacy while you're on a beer run. Instead, your prescription will be shipped to your door every 3 months. Now, the hair on top of my head is so thick I can barely get a comb through it. Seriously, my barber charges me double, and I want to do my best to keep him employed. Keeps uses generic FDA-approved medications, and since there's no name brand markup, you'll save money while keeping your barber in business for years to come. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/craft or click the link down in the video description and receive 50% off your first order. That's keeps.com/craft, and thanks again to Keeps for sponsoring today's video. Welcome back to Craft Computing, everyone. As always, I'm Jeff, and would you look at that? There's another server to review on my desk. This is the Wiwynn Lyra SV315. It is a dual-socket 2011 server with support for both Sandy and Ivy Bridge Xeon CPUs, 24 DIMM slots for DDR3 ECC support, and 10 small form factor drive bays. Now, I know I said I was pretty much done running Sandy and Ivy Bridge servers in my own personal server rack, but hear me out on this one, because the feature set is actually pretty impressive. Around the back is 4 1GB LAN ports, an IPMI 2.0 port, as well as 2 full-height PCI Express slots. While the CPUs inside of here aren't going to set the world on fire, I think there is still a lot of value in the feature set here. You could use this as a virtualization host, or as a flash storage host for other servers in your network. And if it wasn't already obvious, that's exactly what we're going to be building here today. In my hand, I have 8 Intel 1.2TB enterprise SSDs, as well as a pair of Ironwolf 1.92TB enterprise SSDs. We're going to load them into the front of the server, as well as a 40GB network card around the rear, and just for good measure, we're going to throw in an NVIDIA T400 graphics card. As far as the CPUs go, I'm going with a bit of an odd choice in a set of Xeons that I found last year. This is the Intel Xeon E5 4627V2, and unlike its 2600 series brethren, you can actually put up to 4 of these chips into a single motherboard. Now obviously, this motherboard only has 2 sockets, but these will still slot right in. This is an 8-core, 8-threaded CPU with a 3.3 GHz base and I believe a 4 GHz turbo. So while it doesn't have a ton of threads, they should make pretty short work of all the SSDs we're going to throw into here. And finally, we come to the memory. Now, I did mention that this has 24 DIMM slots inside of it, so I figured we might as well fill it, right? So in front of me are 24 16GB DIMMs of DDR3 ECC registered memory running at 1866 MHz. So regardless of the services we want to run on here, I don't think we're ever going to run out of memory. That's the introductions out of the way. What do you say we go ahead and get this thing together? let's talk about this. So I guess you're all wondering why we're not looking at benchmarks and temperature reports and all kinds of fun stuff with 40 gigabit networking. And unfortunately, I have no one to blame but myself for this one. Towards the back of the server are a pair of Pci Express slots, and I know what these slots are, I've used them before. They are essentially a Pci Express X16 slot that is stretched out a little bit longer than normal. The reason they do that is so you can have a 1U server and have a Pci Express X16 riser come off of it, or if you put this same motherboard into a 2U or 3U server, you can have multiple Pci Express slots come off of it, and you have some additional PCI lanes on the back end of the port. At least that's how a standard expansion slot like this should work. But on the Intel S2600GL motherboard, these slots are just a little bit different. You see, not only do these slots have 24 PCI Express lanes each, with 16 being on the front and 8 being on the rear, as well as being able to bifurcate those slots depending on the height of your server, those slots also support PCI X expansion. How it supports those 24 PCIe lanes with the addition of PCI X expansion is by negotiating with a chip that happens to be on the riser card. So instead of just plugging in a passive riser like this, you need an active card with a chip on it that will bifurcate that PCI Express lane. So you might see where I'm going with this. You see, I couldn't find the proper riser cards right off the bat when I ordered the server, so instead I ordered these riser cables so I could get the height and offset correct and just plug in a couple of expansion cards. The cable that I bought has the standard PCI Express locking lug at the rear of it to help hold it in place. However, since this is a longer than normal PCI Express slot, that locking lug is going down into the slot and causing the system not to boot. Every time the cable was plugged into the system and I tried to turn it on, I would just get a series of beeps out of it. I figured it was a problem with the locking lug being down in the slot, so I did what any sane person would do and cut the locking lug off. It was when I plugged this modified riser cable in and was met with the smell of burning electronics that I realized I f***ed up. The reason I'm so disappointed in myself is I knew better. Not only have I worked with expansion slots like this before, I've worked with this exact motherboard before. I know this motherboard. At least I knew it 12 years ago when I deployed these brand new. I knew that they required specific expansion ports. I knew that you needed to buy specific riser cards. But that place in my brain has been replaced with a catalog of craft beer and whiskey. So yeah. Now this server doesn't work. But not all hope is lost when it comes to reviewing this server. Well, I mean, all hope is lost for reviewing this server. But I'm gonna source either another motherboard or I'll just buy another entire chassis and review that in the next video, along with the 40 gigabit network port that I was adding into this. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that one. In the meantime, I'm going to go hang my head in shame and remind myself to read the manual every once in a while. But if you'd like to pick up one of these servers for yourself and not kill it, I will have eBay affiliate links down in the video description, where I picked up this server complete with drive trays and rails for only $115. Definitely a good deal if I could keep it running. On your way down there, make sure to drop this video a like and subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing for daily screw-ups like this. And if you like the content you see on this channel and want to help support me in what I do and replacing motherboards that I killed, make sure to subscribe to the Patreon. Link is also down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, and all the other hosts from Talking Heads. That's ashamedly going to do it for me in this one, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys. Oh, that's a good bottle. Beverage for today is not a beer at all, nor is it alcoholic at all. This is from Brew Dr. It's a kombucha, Tranquil Ginger, made with Peruvian ginger and lemon extract. Also has 25 milligrams of CBD. Very subtle ginger zing in there. Definitely getting that lemon right up front. Very ginger muley, oddly enough. No, it's not odd at all, because, well, ginger. Very subtle on the nose, but but that's a drink that'll wake you up in the morning. Whew, I like that. It's so funny, the disparity between the nose on this drink and the actual flavor of it, because it kind of sets you up to be like, oh yeah, that's, you know, a nice smooth lemonade. And then you take a drink and your pupils get a little bit smaller. Off topic, but years and years ago, I was in a T-bone accident. Some guy pulled out in front of me, ran a stop sign. I T-boned him. His car drove away fine. Mine left the engine on the ground. The rental car that the insurance company gave me was a Kia Spectra. And I couldn't say that without going Kia Spectra. And so for a month and a half, I drove a Kia Spectra. And now I do it with any Kia car that has an S in the name. Kia Sorento. Kia Stinger. It's really stupid, but it so fit the Spectra.